Hello and welcome to the She Reads Romance Books podcast, the ultimate show for romance book lovers looking for the best books worth reading. I'm your host, Leslie Murphy, and in each short episode, I share my favorite book list of recommendations so you know exactly what to add to your must-read list. Join me as I explore the romance genre and have fun collecting book boyfriends along the way, because life is better with a love story. Hey readers, thanks so much for joining me today. Since you're here, I'm assuming that you're ready to add to your TBR list as always. There are just so many romance books releasing every single day that it can be overwhelming to weed through everything when you have so much other things tugging on your time, which is where I come in with these monthly episodes where I share my top 10 new releases coming out for the month ahead. It's always so much fun for me to check out which new romance books are releasing every month, so I know exactly what I want to add to my must-read list, and I think these will be books that you'll want to read as well. August seems, looking over at these titles, it seems like a great month for fantasy and paranormal readers, especially as a number of those are sticking out for me and on my to-read list. But there are also, small town romance, sports romance, new adult romance, and some rom-coms to look forward to dropping this month as well. And the last book from my list of most anticipated romance books of 2024 is finally here as well, so I'm super excited to read that one this month. As always, for even more books to add to your reading list, don't forget to bookmark my upcoming releases page on shereadsromancebooks.com, which I'll include a link for in the show notes, or you can go back at any time to my previous monthly release book episodes for even more amazing titles that you can catch up on from this year. Now, as of this recording, I have to share that we just had our author Q&A chat with Brittany Cherry, author of The Air He Breathes, which was our June 2024 pick for the She Reads Romance Books book club. And oh my gosh, it's always such a gift to talk with authors for these Q&As because we have such a relaxed setting where we can honestly ask any question and they are just so open and sharing with us, and Brittany was no different. She totally gave us the inside scoop on the making of the Air He Breathes movie, which drops August 22nd on Passionflix. It's going to be so good because she said all the best parts from the book are included in the film. And she also shared with us in that Q&A about her start in writing romance. And there were some tidbits that totally blew me away that she shared about. She's just so talented and was so gracious and such a lover of romance books herself. It was a true delight talking with her, and if you happen to have missed it, you can watch our recording when you join the She Reads Romance Books book club. Plus, once you join, you'll have access to our July book club materials. This month, we are reading The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center, our monthly book pick. We will be talking with Catherine on Zoom on July 29th, and you absolutely don't want to miss that opportunity because honestly, these author chats are like no other. So go to shereadsromancebooks.com/book club to join today, and I will see you there on Zoom. But now on to August 2024's most anticipated new romance books, with the first book that I am just about to start reading since I have an advanced reader copy, and that is The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. This is her latest queer romance, which releases August 6th. I'm actually doubly excited about this book because I'm going to one of Casey's book tour stops this summer. So I'm going to get a signed copy and get to hear her on the panel. So I cannot wait for that event to come up and hear from this amazing author who is really, a top name in queer romance these days. This is her fourth book, one of my most anticipated of the year, and this is what it's about. Theo and Kit have been a lot of things: childhood best friends, crushes, in love, and now estranged exes. After a brutal breakup on the transatlantic flight to their dream European food and wine tour, they exited each other's lives once and for all. time apart has done them good, Leo has found confidence as a hustling bartender by night and aspiring sommelier by day with a long roster of casual lovers. Kit, who never returned to America, graduated as the reigning god of his pastry school class and now bakes at one of the finest restaurants in Paris. Sure, nothing really compares to what they had, and life stretches out long and lonely ahead of them, but yeah, it's in the past. All that remains is the unused voucher for the European tour that never happened, good for 48 months after its original date and about to expire. 4 years later, it seems like a great idea to finally take the trip, solo, separately. It's not until they board the tour bus that they discover they've both accidentally had the exact same idea, and now they're trapped with each other for 3 weeks of stunning views, luscious flavors, and the most romantic cities of France, Spain, and Italy. It's fine. There's nothing left between them. So much nothing that when Theo suggests a friendly wager to see who can sleep with their hot Italian tour guide first, Kit is totally game. And why stop there? Why not a full-on European hookup competition? But sometimes a taste of everything only makes you crave what you can't have. Oh my gosh. Okay. One, I just want to go on that European tour with them because it sounds amazing. So the pairing is a must-read this month, not only because it's going to take you across Europe to Spain, Italy, and France with two childhood besties that now have had a falling out and reconnect on this food and wine tour. I mean, that's enough said, right? But it also deserves a spot on your TBR list because McQuiston hasn't published a book in over a year, and we are very much overdue for some McQuiston awesomeness, or at least I hope that it's going to be delivering some awesomeness, just like her debut Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I don't know about you, but I absolutely loved and is one of my all-time favorite romance books. So I'm really hoping that this one totally delivers this summer and makes my all-time favorite book list as well. The next book on my TBR list, and one I recommend you add to yours, is Northern Twilight by Samantha Young. This is a small town second chance romance that releases August 8th, and here is what it is about. As teenagers, Callie Ironside and Louis Adair were inseparable. So much so, Louis still can't work out where it all went horribly wrong, or why he spent the last 7 years in London away from the love of his life. Callie knows exactly where it all went wrong, and while she tried to move on, learning pastry techniques in Paris and dating French men, returning home to Ardnock to work in her mother's bakery only reminds her of the future she lost with Louis. But when a visit to London brings them unexpectedly together, the passion, pain, and animosity between them leads to a one-night stand, of course. For Louis, it's the beginning of winning Callie and his life in Ardnock back. For Callie, it's a mistake that's shaken up the devastating heartbreak she fought hard to forget. However, Louis is determined to fight for her and proves it when their night together results in more than just unresolved feelings. As they come to grips with impending parenthood and the mistakes they've both made, Callie and Louis will not only have to decide to fight for a love that has endured so many years apart, but a mysterious adversary who seems intent on destroying the future they're building together. All right, this is book 5 in Young's Highland series, but I'm planning to just go ahead and read it as a standalone, as I have not yet read any of the other previous books in this series. But I want to read this one because, one, it's just been too long since I've read one of her books, honestly. And this also just sounds like a really great, heart-wrenching second chance romance, and I'm ready for a bit of angst this month. Surprise pregnancy romances can kind of go either way for me, but I think it's going to be a great addition to this story to get these two to finally work things out. So yeah, looking forward to reading this new one from Samantha Young in August. All right, the next book is where the paranormal romance books for the month begin, and it is Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca, her new small town paranormal romance about ghosts that releases August 13th, and here is what it's about. Small Florida coastal towns often find themselves scrambling for the tourism dollars that the Orlando theme parks leave behind. And within the town limits of Boneyard Key, the residents decided long ago to lean into its ghostliness.
Rick Royer, owner of the Hallowed Grounds coffee shop, embraces the ghost tourism that keeps the local economy afloat, as well as his spectral roommate. At least he doesn't have to run air conditioning. Cassie Rutherford possibly overreacted to all her friends getting married and having kids by leaving Orlando and buying a flipped historic cottage in Boneyard Key. Though there's something unusual with her new home, her laptop won't charge in any outlets, and the poetry magnets on her fridge definitely didn't read Wrong and My House when she put them up. She's charmed by the colorful history surrounding her, and she's catching a certain vibe from the grumpy coffee shop owner whenever he slips her a free slice of banana bread along with her coffee order. As Nick takes her on a ghost tour, sharing town gossip that tourists don't get to hear, and they spend nights side by side looking into the former owners of her haunted cottage, their connection solidifies into something very real and enticing. But Casey's worried she's in too deep with the whole haunted home ownership thing, and Nick's afraid to get too close in case Cassie gets scared away for good. All right, I'm already loving that this sounds like a really cute paranormal romance with some interesting ghosts haunting the homes of the small town. This is definitely a change up, I think, for DeLuca, but I'm here to see what she brings to this small Florida town and its interesting residents. This will be the first book I think I will be reading from her, and it's about time that I checked out her work. So yeah, looking forward to Haunted Ever After on August 13th. Now, August 13th, I think, is like a huge publishing day that month, because the next up on my list is a fantasy romance, also releasing August 13th, and that's Born of Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So a must-read for all of her fans and those who are reading the Flesh and Fire series and the From Blood and Ash series, and here is what it's about. While Sarah is finally free of Collis and back with those she loves, not everything is calm. Memories of all she's endured still haunt her, but Sarah finally has hope for a future with the other half of her heart and soul. Nyktos desires, loves, and accepts every part of her, even the monstrous bits she still battles. More than ever, Sarah and Ash have everything under the realms to fight for, and Nyktos has no doubt Sarah is fit to be the queen of the gods. But she must find that faith within herself if they hope to convince the other courts to support them against Collis and make Elysium and the mortal realm better, safer places for all. But as Sarah begins to piece together the importance of her bloodline and the true meaning behind the foreboding prophecy, it becomes clear that everything that has happened and is yet to come is much bigger than Collis and his dark obsessions. They cannot help but wonder exactly how much influence the fates have had and what their ultimate goal is. What Sarah does not know for sure is that they can trust very few, including her. A battle between the gods is brewing, and the heartbreaking losses are imminent, with the true primal of death strengthening. With the family of the heart willing to battle by their side, can Sarah and Nyktos stop Collis before he destroys the realms, or will it all disappear in a fiery inferno of blood and ash? Oh, I cannot believe we are already at the end of the Flesh and Fire series. I admit that I'm still a book behind, but this new release is providing the impetus to kind of catch up on this series so I can enjoy the final book. The series has 4 books, so you have time yourself to catch up too if you've not yet jumped in on this fantasy train, which is a spin-off series and related to her pretty popular From Blood and Ash series, which is without a doubt one of my all-time favorite books in series and romantasy books, like all the things. I will read this one while I patiently wait for the next book From Blood and Ash series to drop, which I'm just desperately waiting for. So yeah, if Jennifer Armentrout is writing it, I am definitely going to be reading it and adding it to my TBR list. The next book that I think you should add to your TBR list is another paranormal romance that's about werewolves and vampires. Such a great combo, if you ask me, and it is A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire by Sarah Howley, releasing August 13th, and here is what it is about. Werewolf Ben Rosewood is happy with his life, 100%. Everything is fine. His business, Ben's Plant Emporium, is thriving, and he's even expanding the shop. His anxiety disorder is, well, it's been better, but that comes with the territory of running a business and having beastly urges every full moon, right? As for romance, who has the time? Though his family is desperate to see him settled, Ben is fine, approaching 40 as a single werewolf. But after drunkenly bidding on and winning a supposedly possessed crystal on eBay one night, he finds himself face to face with a beautiful yet angry vampire. Eleanor Betancourt Devereaux is a rare breed, a vampire succubus born from two elite European bloodlines during medieval times. Thanks to an evil witch, she's been stuck in a crystal since she was 30, forced to obey orders from the possessor of the rock. Eleanor's been dreaming of breaking the spell and severing the witch's head for centuries. But did this witch really sell her to someone new, or in for only 99 cents? Eleanor would claw this werewolf's heart out and eat it if only the binding spell would allow her to. But Eleanor and Ben soon realize that they can help each other with both vengeful and less hostile needs. And why not have a little fun along the way? So this too, I figured it was high time for me to check out Holly's books, in particular this paranormal series, and a book about an anxious werewolf and a succubus vampire is just too good to pass up in my mind. I've just actually picked it up and started reading my advanced reader copy, and I'm loving Ben, who is such a sweetheart. And even if you don't read it for this August, it's one to keep in mind, for the fall Halloween time frame, because I just think it's going to be super cute. And it's already up on my updated list of best werewolf romance books, because I definitely have a thing for werewolf romance books. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. So many good ones there, worth reading and adding to your TBR list. All right. Moving on, the next August 2024 new release on my radar, and one that I'm about to jump into as well with an advanced reader copy, is Wicked Sir by Grace Riley, her latest new adult sports romance that releases August 13th as well. And here is what it is about. Nikolai. Hockey is my life, and I need to make this last season count. But when I'm forced to transfer to rival school McKee University for my senior year, I risk pissing off the captain, who happens to be the older brother of Isabel Callahan, the gorgeous beam of sunshine I messed around with in secret this summer. Rekindling our fling could risk her brother icing me off the team, not to mention the fact that my scarred past make having a real relationship impossible. And yet the moment I see Isabel again, all my wild, burning feelings come rushing back. Izzy, I have 2 goals for sophomore year: win back my old volleyball position and forget I ever knew devilishly handsome hockey defensive man Nikolai Abney Volkov. As the youngest and only daughter in a family full of athletes, failure isn't an option. But when Nick crashes back into my life, I can't stay away from his broody charm. I'm determined to guard my heart this time, but between the furtive hookups and the heartfelt conversations, the lines between friends with benefits and more begin to blur. As we fall deeper into a place we can't come back from unscathed, we'll have to make a choice. Fight for our future together or watch it go up in flames. So this is the 4th book in Riley's Beyond the Plays series. I really enjoyed the 2nd book called Breakaway, which got me interested in Izzy's story. Plus the fact that she's a volleyball player made this an instant must-read for me, since I too was a volleyball player in college. This will bring back those glory days, though. The fact that Nick is also a hero with a scarred past and they have history together makes it even more enticing. I will be talking with Grace for the She Reads Romance Books podcast about this book very soon, so stay tuned for that episode, which is going to release mid-August. Okay, next up is a book by an author who I haven't read in a good while either, and that is Miranda in Retrograde by Lauren Lane, her newest rom-com that also releases August 13th. Gosh, like I said, how many books is this now for August 13th? I don't know. Again, take that day off from work and just read all these awesome books. But here is what Lane's latest is about. As the youngest physics professor at her university, practical-minded Miranda Reed plans her life with minute precision. But that's before she's denied tenure and the promotion she thought she was guaranteed. Suddenly, her tidy life is anything but constant. Overdue for a sabbatical, Miranda takes some time to look towards the stars, only this time she's not looking for black holes. With her faith in science shaken, Miranda turns to a practice she's long dismissed as preposterous: astrology. Determined to figure out why her life has suddenly gone sideways, Miranda commits to a year of letting her horoscope guide her. Soon she's taking on new home improvement projects, adopting a new pet, and studying what the stars have to say about her ideal love match. The intriguingly aloof artist living next door, never. His Aries energy is all wrong. On the other hand, the charming father of her new tutoring pupil is Sagittarian perfection. Made for her, right? As Miranda navigates life with a new perspective, she slowly discovers neither science nor the stars have all the answers. And that when it comes to love, you sometimes just have to trust your heart. As I said, it's been a hot minute since I read a book by Lauren Lane. So when I saw this new release, I had to add it to my reading list because I just like to focus on astrology. I think it's going to be really fun seeing how Miranda tries to live her life by the stars, come what may. So here's hoping that this book in August is a keeper. Another new romance book release that's on my TBR list and which should be on yours for this month is The Bonus by T.L. Swan. This is an office romance which releases August 14, and here is what it's about. Grace Porter has the perfect job, great pay, a beautiful office, everything she ever dreamed of, if not for one small detail. She's utterly and hopelessly in love with her boss. Gabriel Ferrara is tall and handsome, and most days she wants to stab her eyes out with a pencil, anything to stop her seeing his perfection. How any female could work in these conditions and not be completely besotted with him is beyond her. Then he opens his mouth and she remembers why. He's bossy and sarcastic with a wit so sharp it could cut glass. Every weekend is the same. While he's off living his dream life, she's counting down the days until Monday when she sees him again. But enough is enough. Grace is tired of organizing his glamorous and exciting life instead of living her own. Determined to find true happiness, she hands in her resignation. Furious, he won't accept it and rages like never before. Desperate to keep her, he offers her a bonus. One she never saw coming. Finally, it's Grace's turn to be boss. I'm really intrigued by this one by Swan and how the dynamic between these two will play out in this boss romance. Could she become the boss in the bedroom? Is he bringing her into his life in some other way to show her what he and she is missing? Intriguing minds like my own are going to have to read it to find out. Here is hoping it's going to snag a spot on my brand new book list of best boss romance books, which is now up on She Reads Romance Books. So go check that out now if you haven't already, and then add this one to your TBR list and let me know if it should be added there. The next book I cannot wait to read is another rom-com, but this one by Megan Quinn, and it's called Bridesmaid Undercover, which is releasing August 20th. And here is what it is about. Everly Plum is delighted to be heading up the Bridesmaid for Hire program at Magical Moments by Maggie. And when Hardy Hopper, one of their billionaire investors, approaches Everly for help with his friend's wedding, she's more than happy to step in. But Hardy has an extra assignment for her. His ex-girlfriend will be the maid of honor opposite his role as best man, and he wants Everly's help getting her back. There's only one problem. Everly may have a tiny crush on the dashing businessman. But despite the way Hardy makes her stomach flutter, she's determined to prove herself both as a bridesmaid and as a matchmaker. That is, until she finds her crush turning into real feeling. Not to mention, Hardy can't help but notice how well he clicks with Everly, and before he knows it, he's not looking for his ex's attention anymore. But even after their simmering attraction finally rises to the surface, they will have to contend with meddling friends, poor timing, and professional boundaries, and the risk that no one might get a second chance after all. I honestly don't know how she does it. Megan Quinn just keeps churning out the rom-coms, and this is her second romance about bridesmaids this year. I always enjoy romances where someone is helping another character get the attention of someone else when you know it's only a matter of time before they sort of make eyes at each other. Sound like the path, though, between these two might not be so easy for Everly and Hardy, however. So that is Bridesmaid Undercover, a must-read if you are a Megan Quinn fan. All right, last but certainly not least, another new romance book I'm really looking forward to reading in August, and it's by an author I have not yet read before, is Magical Meet Cute by Jean Meltzer. Her latest rom-com releasing August 27th. and here is what it is about. Faye Kaplan used to be engaged. She also used to have a successful legal practice, but she much prefers her new life as a potter in Woodstock, New York. The only thing missing is the perfect guy. Not that she needs one, she's definitely happy alone. That is, until she finds her town papered with anti-Semitic flyers after yet another failed singles event at the synagogue. Desperate for comfort, Faye drunkenly turns to the only thing guaranteed to soothe her, pottery. A golem protector is just what her town needs, and adding all the little details to make him her ideal man can't hurt, right? When a seriously hot stranger mysteriously turns up the next day, Greg seems too good to be true, if you ignore the fact that Faye hit him with her bike and that he subsequently lost his memory. But otherwise, the man checks every single box, causing Faye to wonder if Greg's sudden and spicy appearance might be anything but a coincidence. So this diverse romance made my list because I love that Faye seems to create her own ideal boyfriend from clay. Who wouldn't want to do that and mold him into the perfect guy, right? Yet I have a feeling it cannot be that easy, so I'm excited to see how this one plays out. I also don't know, too much about Judaism, and I think she weaves a bit into each one of her books, so I'm looking forward to that aspect of this romance as well. Okay, so that wraps up my list of my top 10 most anticipated new romance book releases for August 2024. What new romance books are you most excited to read coming up this month? Definitely drop a comment on the blog or send me an email and let me know. Or better yet, join the She Reads Romance Books book club and drop me a line in our reader community forum there so we can all add your suggestions to our TBR list. To join the club, just go to shereadsromancebooks.com/book club. And I'm telling you, it is the place to be if you are a romance book lover. So don't miss out, and I will look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. As a reminder, the Passport to Romance Summer Reading Challenge is still underway until the end of August, and you can download your passport in the She Reads Romance Books book club. If you have a book list idea or topic for an upcoming podcast episode, also drop me a line, as I'd love to hear it, and I will give you a shout out on the podcast for sharing the idea as well. I have some more author interviews coming up, but some weeks I have open for some book list topics to explore as well. So let me know your ideas. I'm thinking I'm going to be tacking on some microtropes again, like I have in past episodes, so stay tuned to see what drops next. Until next time, though, happy reading, because life is better with a love story.
That's all for this episode of the She Reads Romance Books podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and found some new books to add to your TBR list. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. It really helps me reach more romance book lovers like you, and I appreciate your support. If you're a book boyfriend collector like me, then you'll want to join my email list so you never miss a podcast episode or a new book list. Just visit shereadsromancebooks.com/join and sign up today. As a thank you, I'll instantly send you my list of top 10 book boyfriends that will make you swoon. Trust me, you don't want to miss this list. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.